To Module 3, Lesson 10. Our objective today is to add fractions with sums greater than 2. So we're going to be using a lot of whole numbers today. Again, we are adding fractions and we're moving away from our area model and we're going to use our standard algorithm, okay, to find our common denominators. So 4 plus 5. That was 1 and that was 2. It would be 5/20 plus 8/20 equals 13/20. Okay? So remember, we have to find our common denominator there. Okay, please move to your Learn book, Lesson 10, problem set. This is more of the same. We're just adding. And I can do some things here to this problem to make it a little bit easier. I can move numbers around if it helps. First, I'm going to put this 2 here, plus 1, plus 1/4, plus 1/5. I don't know if that makes it easier for you. Sometimes it makes it easier for some people because then we can put some parentheses here. We can put some parentheses here, and then we can just tackle these two things separately, okay? Right? Okay, so let's tackle these fractions first. Now, 1/4 plus 1/5 equals, now I need to find my common denominator. So there are 2 ways I can do it. First of all, I can skip count 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, okay, and I can go on and on and on. And then I have to skip count 5, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, okay, and I can also go on in there, but I already see that I have a common denominator. So I'm going to circle that, 20. That's my common denominator, okay? The other way, that's number 1, the other way is I could just multiply my 2 denominators. 4 times 5 equals 20, okay? Now this will get me a common denominator, but it's not always the least common denominator, and this will definitely get me the least common denominator. So, in order to change this to something over 20 plus something over 20, I need to multiply this by 5 and this by 5. Whatever I do to the top, I have to do to the bottom. And 4 times 5 is 20, and 1 times 5 is 5, so that's 5/20. Those are equivalent fractions. 1/4 and 5/20 are equivalent fractions. Here, I'm going to multiply by 4, and 1 times 4 is 4, and 5 times 4 is 20. Now I have 9/20. So now I can take this, and I can make that 9/20. And I know that that's 3, so 3 plus 9/20 equals 3. Wow, my pen doesn't want to work perfectly. There we go. I got to slow down maybe. 3 and 9/20. Done. Beautiful. Excellent. Okay, let's try again. Okay, this time I'm not going to spread them apart, but you can if you want. I'm just going to keep them where they are, and I'm going to make a space here. 1 plus 2/5, and then I'm going to put my equals over here. Now again, I've got that 4 and that 5, so I already know that 20 is going to be my least common denominator. So I don't have to go through the hassle of figuring out what it will be. I can just multiply this by 5 and that by 5, and that's going to give me 2 plus 15/20 plus 1 plus, and here I'm going to multiply by 4, That's 8/20. Now I can just add across. 2 plus 1 is 3. And then 15/20 plus 8/20 would be 23/20. But what do I see there? 3 and 23/20. Well, I know that I could make that, right? I could make that 3 plus 20 over 20 plus 3/20. Okay, if I split that apart and decomposed it, and then I know that I could cross that out and make it 1, so it would be 3 plus 1 plus 3/20 would give me 4 and 3/20. Excellent. Okay. Next one. Did you like splitting them out, or do you like keeping them together? I kind of like splitting them out, so let's split them out again. I'm going to just move those this way to get those kind of out of the way. 1/5 and 1/3. So I just rewrote the problem, okay? And all the numbers are still there. 1, 1, 2, 2, 1/5, 1/5, 1/3, 1/3. They're all still there. They're just a little bit more manageable now, right? So 1/5 and 1/3 equal, well, how do I want to do that? Do I want to do my skip counting, or do I want to just multiply the numbers? Let's see which one's going to get us there faster. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Oh, 15 is a multiple of 5. Let's try that. 5, 10, 15. Oh, there it is, right there. Well, honestly, I think we could have just multiplied our denominators that time and gotten the same number. 3 times 5 equals 15. Okay, but that just takes practice. So I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by 3, and 3/15 here, plus, now I'm going to multiply that by 5, and that's going to give me 5/15. Now I have 3 plus 5 is 8/15, but don't forget these. Now I can move this up here, 8/15. Oh my goodness, there we go. But this is 2 plus 1 is 3, so my actual answer is 3 and 8/15. Now I cannot simplify 8/15 anymore because I can't divide them both by the same number. Okay. D. 4 and 2/3 plus 1 and 2/5. Well, I think I'm going to rewrite my problem two-thirds plus 2/5, but this time I'm going to use my number line as well. So 3 and 5, I already know that's 15 is my lowest common denominator. So 2/3 plus 2/5. And over here, I'm going to multiply this by 5 and this by 3. And my new problem is going to be 10/15 plus 6/15 equals 16/15. Okay, you see it, don't you? You see it right away? 16/15 is just 15/15 plus 1/15. And I can cross that off and I can make that a 1 and 1/15, okay? Now, there's my 1 and 1/15. I'm going to make a number line, and this is addition, so remember the number line goes this direction. And I'm going to skip. So 4 plus 1, so there's 4 and 1, so that's 5. Then I know that this altogether makes 1 and 115. So I'm going to jump another 1. That's going to get me to 6. And then between 6 and 7, I need 15s, right? So there's 7, and I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, and 1/15 is right there, so that's 1/15. So my answer is going to be, where did I land? 6 and 1/15 is my answer. Okay. I might have to draw a square around it so the teacher can see where it is. Okay. We can still use some of these other strategies. If you really get stuck, you can still go back to your model and still go back to your number line. I'm showing you that you can if you can't add those things in your head. I want you to have options. Next one. 3 and 1/3 plus 4 and 5/7 equals, do you see how I left these spaces on purpose? Okay, we need to find a common denominator here. Well, let's try our skip counting. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27. Okay, let's try with 7s. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35. Okay, I see it now. There it is, 21 and 21. Well, I probably could have gotten that same answer by just multiplying 3 times 7 equals 21. But you guys will start to identify those. Okay, so in order to find that, I need to multiply this by 7 and this by 3. And my new answer will be 3 and 7 21s plus 4 and 15 21s. And then I can add across here, 3 plus 4 is 7, and 7 21s and 15 21s is going to actually be 22 21s. Oh, do you see that? That is an improper fraction. So I definitely want to change that to 21 21s plus 1 21. And then what I can do right here is I can cross this off and make it into a 1. 7 plus 1 plus 1, 21 equals 8 and 1 21s. Okay. Well, I'm going to run out of space for F here. I'm going to rewrite this one because I kind of like rewriting them. 2 plus 5. It's your choice. If you want to keep them together like I did here, you can. Otherwise, you can rewrite them. Plus 6 7s plus 2/3. And 7 and 3, I already know 21 is what my common denominator is going to be. So let's add this together right away. That's 7. And here, 7 plus 6 7s plus 2/3. Now I'm going to use a brighter color. 7 times 3, 6 times 3, and then 3 times 7 and 2 times 7 will give me 7 plus 18 21s plus 14 21s equals, well, 18 plus 14, 18 plus 14 is 12, carry the 1 is 32. 32, so wait, hang on. 7 and 32 21s. Well, again, this is an improper fraction, so I'm going to split that out. 7 plus 21 21s plus 11 21s, and I can then change this to 1. So 7 plus 1 plus 11 21s equals 8 and 11 21s. Great. Ooh, my hand's getting a little tired, you guys. Okay, next one, number 8. 15 and 1/5 plus 3 and 5/8. Okay, well, ooh, got a little away from me there. 8s, okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and multiply these two together. 5 times 8 is 40, right? So this is going to be 15 with something over 40, and this is going to be 3 with something over 40. And in order to get there, I need to multiply. So here I'm going to multiply this by 8, and that I'm going to multiply by 8, and this I'm going to multiply by 5, and that I'm going to multiply by 5. And then my new answer will be 8 over 40, and here it will be 25 over 40. Now I can add across. Okay, so 15 plus 3 is 15, 16, 17, 18. And then 40 is my denominator. 25 plus 8, well, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. Okay, 18 and 33/40. That's that answer for G. I just keep taking over more and more space on this right side. I feel bad for the problems on the right. I need to start writing smaller, start further on the left. Okay, this one, 15, hang on. 15 and 5/8 plus 5 and 2/5. Again, they've gifted us here. 5 and 8, we already know that our common denominator is going to be 40. So we can just go ahead and 15 something over 40 plus 5 with something over 40 equals, okay, now I multiply this by 5 and that by 5 and this by 8 and that by 8, and my new answer will be, my equivalent fraction here will be 25/40, and I know that from here, right? And on this side I will have 16/40. Now I'm going to add them, and I'm just going to add them here. So that's 20. And guess what we're going to have here? We're going to have an improper fraction, I can tell already. 25 plus 16 is 41 over 40. You know what? I think you guys can handle it. I'm just going to go ahead and put that right there and move that to there. You see what I did? I took the improper fraction out and I added it to the 20. So 21 and 1/40 is my answer. Erin jogged 2 1/4 miles on Monday. Wednesday she jogged 3 1/3 miles, and on Friday she jogged 2 2/3 miles. How far did Erin jog altogether? Okay, I'm going to draw my tape diagram. Ooh, that was terrible. Let me try again. Okay, so on Monday she did 2 1/4, and on Wednesday she did 3 1/3, on Friday she did 2 2/3. So I want to know how much did she run altogether? Well, that looks like an addition problem to me. Let's write it out into an expression. 2 1/4 plus 3 1/3 plus 2 2/3. Do you see what I see? These two are already have the same denominator. So guess what? I'm just going to do this because I think that's going to be way easier for us. Okay? So 3 plus 2 is 5, and 1/3 plus 2/3 is 3/3. Okay? Well, I also know that 3/3 equals 1. So 5 plus 1 just equals 6. 6 plus 2 1/4 equals, well, hey, there isn't even a fraction on that side. I don't even have to find any more common denominators. I can just add 8 1/4, and the answer is in miles. So she ran 8 1/4 miles. Let's just make sure we're answering the right thing here. Erin jogged 2 1/4 mile on Monday. Wednesday she jogged 3 3/3 miles. Friday she jogged 2 2/3 miles. How far did she run altogether? Okay, so this would be 5 1/3 plus 2/3 is 3/3. And I know, and this 2 1/4, it's just hanging out. It's just following us down, right? Then I know 3/3 equals 1, so 5 plus 1 is 6. And then 2 plus 6 is 8, plus 1/4 is 8 1/4 miles. Awesome! Number 3, Darren bought some paint. He used 2 1/4 gallons painting his living room. After that, he had 3 5/6 gallons left. How much paint did he buy? Okay, here's my tape diagram. Remember, this is read, draw, write strategy for our story problems. That means that we read it first, then we draw. We're drawing a tape diagram in this instance. Okay, and how much paint did he buy? So we know he used 2 1/4 gallons. After that, he had 3 5/6 left. How much paint did he buy? Okay, so we read it, we drew a picture to help us understand, and now we're going to write out an expression and solve it numerically. So 2 1/4 plus 3 5/6 equals how much he bought in gallons, right? So 4 and 6, I think our common denominator there is, do you remember our common denominator? Let's try it. Okay, so we're gonna skip count. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. Now 6s. 6, 12, 18, 24. Okay, I see 2, but I want to use the smallest one. There's 24, but also here's 12. Okay. So I'm going to use the 12s. Okay, 2 1/4 plus 3 5/6 equals, and my common denominator is going to be 12, so 2 something over 12 and 3 something over 12. So now I need to multiply. What do I need to multiply times 4 to get 12? 3. Okay. So 1 times 3 is 3. 4 times 3 is 12. Here I need to multiply by 2 because 6 times 2 is 12. So 6 times 2 is 12. And then 5 times 2 is 10. Now I can add across pretty easily. 2 and 3 is 5. And now I've got 3/12 and 10/12. That's 13/12. But 13/12 is an improper fraction, so I'm going to have to split that apart. I go back to blue. 5 plus 12/12 plus 1/12, because 12 plus 1 is 13. Now I can just rewrite that as, I'm going to make that into a 1, right? And call that 6 and 1/12 gallons. Great job. 4, last one. Clayton says that 2.5 plus 3 3/5 will be more than 5, but less than 6, since 2 and 3 equals 5. Is Clayton's reasoning correct? Prove him right or wrong. So he says, let's do some estimation. 2 and 1/2 plus 3 and 3/5. So do we think it's going to be more than 5 but less than 6? Let's see. If we were to estimate this, we know that this is bigger than 1/2, right? You know that 3/5 is bigger than 1/2. If I were to show that to you on a number line, you know, if this is 0 and this is 1, and we split those into 5s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then if I showed you that same number line with 1/2, right? So if that's 1/2, and this is 3/5, you know that 3/5 is bigger than 1/2, right? So we know that that's bigger than 1/2. So 2.5 plus 3.5, well, that right there would be 6. And he's saying it would be bigger than 5 but less than 6. But we know it's going to be bigger than 6, don't we? So let's prove him wrong. Let's prove him wrong. Okay? 2.5 plus 3 and 3/5. Well, what is our common denominator here? Let's just multiply and go with 10, right? 2 and 10 plus 3 something over tenths. Now, here I'm going to multiply by 5, and that I'm going to multiply by 5, so I'm going to get 5/10. And here, stay with me, digital numbers. And here I'm going to multiply by 2, so that's 10, and then 3 times 2 is 6. Now my answer is 2 plus 3 is 5, and I walk away and it disappears. 5 and 6 is 11/10. Well, there's my improper fraction again, equals 5 plus 10 over 10 plus 1 over 10 equals, I'm just going to erase that and make that 6 and 1/10. Is 6 and 1/10 bigger than 5? Yes, it is, because he said, wait a minute, he said 5, 6. He said that it would be less than, more than 5, but less than 6. He didn't think it would cross 6, and this is actually 6 and 1/10. So that's right there. Okay, that's where we ended up on our number line. Is Clayton's reasoning correct? No, he's wrong. Sorry, buddy, you're wrong. Clayton is incorrect. The answer is 6 and 1/10, period. Okay, great. Your exit ticket. Okay, 3 and 1/2 plus 1 and 1/3, and then you've got 4 and 5/7 plus 3 and 3/4. 7 and 4, find your common denominator. 2 and 3, find your common denominator. Hint, hint, I think multiplying is the best way to find those. And that's it. Then go back to your, after you finish that, go back to your lesson 10 homework, finish it and submit them both. Okay, thank you.